Hey.
I'm going to be honest with you, I forgot I was doing this wrap-up today. So, at 1 o'clock in the morning, Jen and I were talking about blanket purchase agreements after too many old fashions, wondering whether or not we could get Congress to give a shit about them. So if you have input on that, let me know, maybe after this. But anyway, thank you for bearing with me in this wrap-up. Question, what is a blanket purchase agreement? We actually don't really know. So I think basically something that says, let's not pigeonhole ourselves to like big vendors that then are gonna screw us. And I was basically asking Jen, like, can we use that kind of language? Like in city council framing to get people to care about this and take it out of like a cerebral space and put it in like hearts and values space. But that's a great question, but I don't have a perfect answer to it.
I got it. So there's a two part to that. There's what you were saying, and also like a bunch of contractors are like, let's bid for the first part. And then the federal government, at least where I'm from, is like, we'll pick a few contractors, and so of this group of 4 or 5 or whatever, then have this, they win a blanket purchase agreement, and then they compete with each other for a further contract. So it's like a better master agreements.
Amazing, thank you both. Okay, so we're going to be on the committee to figure out how to explain blanket purchase agreements to city councilors. Action item. All right. Speaking of, we've spent, I think, some important and quality time together, and want to know what we've learned. So we're going to spend a few minutes lifting that out of the room. What are some key takeaways from the last 3 or so days? We've had lots of really amazing breakout sessions, mainstay sessions. We want to know what's coming to the top, what's rising to the surface for all of you. So we're going to pass around some mics and spend a few minutes drawing those things out. I'm going to run down. We've got thoughts. What's coming to the top?
Hi, Marie from Brigade and Community Fellow. I think one of the takeaways for me was like sometimes less is more, and in the content felt a lot less overwhelming, like not a lot, a little less overwhelming than last year for my first Congress, and I was really appreciative of that. We still had some great sessions, but it didn't feel like, oh, I have to run and catch everything, and we got more time to kind of connect and talk to people and breathe a little, which was really great. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Here's some sound for that. Other key takeaways?
Yeah, this is Ryan. I just want to say, I think, in light of yesterday's news, this community is amazing and supportive and loving, and I think we should all pat ourselves on the back for that. We had a healing session last night that I think was really good, and it's rough news, and I think we're all going to be grieving for a bit, but I think we've all been very supportive of each other, and that's the news that should celebrate.
Thank you for that. And this is a kind of piggyback on that. So I'm Noel from NYC. The loss of Carl has brought up the fact that our communities lose community members on a yearly basis. And one question that has been going on within the conversation with former NAC and NAC is how do we recognize the contributions that the community members that we've lost within a year. And so as an open suggestion, if you have any ideas that you would like to share on how we can recognize the community members that we've lost on an annual basis, whether it's amongst ourselves or at Summit, please elevate those voices. I would love to see something similar to like how the Emmys recognize kind of like members who have been lost, so that way we can memorialize them on an annual basis. Because New York City lost someone who helped inform our direction a few months ago. It would be good to put his photo and recognize Tom's achievements. One thing that I have a question is, we had a very packed room for business models and ecosystem development, and we only had 1 hour to focus on that. Should Kate, Lauren, and I turn that into a summit proposal so that way we can spend more time conversation? Yeah? Okay, great. Thanks.
Other takeaways.
We have one over here.
So a takeaway from the, David Ginsburg, Open Data Delaware. A takeaway from the last session that I hope a lot of people in here already know and are just saying, like, why are you bringing this up? This is common knowledge. Legislators, policymakers have caseworkers, have staff that we should all be talking to. And they want to hear from us. And send them a message and ask, what are you working on? What are your biggest challenges?
Everyone, Gregory, CFA fellow in Miami. So one of the biggest takeaways I got from this was I finally got to see we did an impact cascade, which is really just focusing on metrics and defining how your projects are helping at the individual and systematic level. And I think we got a lot of people interested. So that was one of my biggest takeaways. Also, we had a 1-hour session for affordable housing with the Brigade Housing Project, and I'm really interested in other brigades that want to pull from our work and learnings and repositories. So if you're interested, please follow the game on Slack.
Hi, this is Nick from BTV in Vermont. The session I went to from Civic Tech Toronto highlighted that the brigade structures that we use that are not what they use we could be more open-minded about what we do. So some of their structures are very different from what we do, but maybe we should be rethinking some of those things for some of our brigades and not be totally beholden to the structures that are currently in place if it matches your brigade better.
Building on what David Ginsburg said, one of my takeaways also was the opportunity to work with legislators. And that connects with something we were talking about at the last summit. That summit maybe is a good opportunity not to do like a little mini Brigade Congress, but engage more intentionally with the government folks that show up at summit. So I'm thinking, what we do to maybe bring out legislators, invite them from our communities to summit, and use that as a place to kind of show them what the community is about and figure out ways to work together.
Trina from Cover UDP, I want to thank all the awesome people that participated in the recruitment and retention thing. It was great energy, especially on the last day of the long weekend. But I was wondering if there would be any interest in having like a hangout every couple of months, a hangout meeting to discuss recruitment and retention.
Over here.
Hi, I'm Sion from Code for Tulsa. I did a presentation in Corpod, and a lot of people were really supportive of what we were trying to do and accomplish. I really appreciate for making my first time here really amazing. We also got several people who are interested in also expanding it to their counties and states as well. But we really pointed out a really cool thing that if you're not capable of expanding it to your system or your area, but if you have abilities or people who can analyze data or help with marketing, having like inter-brigade connection like that would be really great too. So thank you for everyone who was interested in Corpod and extending the opportunity.
So this is actually my first time of anything related to Go for America. But the coolest and the biggest takeaway I got is not just the amazing people that are here, but it's the potential of not just conversation but collaboration. Meeting somebody who works at the U.S. Census Bureau, and as well as learning about the projects that the other brigades are working on, very similar to like other social issues, especially with housing or with like the legal system. It just showed me the potential of not just facilitating conversation, but also activity and action in collaborating with our local and national governments. And I'm curious to see how we can better facilitate both of those.
Hi everyone, and thanks for everything. It was amazing to meet you. This is my first Congress. It's been overwhelmingly inspirational for me. It kind of reminds me of why I am a public servant in federal government. And I want to thank you for the work that you're doing. I've heard so many amazing projects. I want to be of service and of help to elevate these stories. anything that has to do with data, we want to tell people about it, and write blogs and just do a lot of storytelling to get this out to the world. That said, if you want to get involved on census efforts, please join the Slack. I've been working with Chris on putting together a webinar for complete communities nationwide, and we want to highlight what you guys are doing. So Cleveland, Oakland, Miami, San Jose, there are many others. We want you to do a lightning talk and a webinar in November, so please let me know if you're interested.
We have time for one more.
Excellent. I just wanted to follow up on the structure of other brigades and how we can share. One thing I talked to Ben, I had the privilege of interviewing with Ben Mulder on this topic generally, and I think he's been interviewing other brigades about what their structure is and sort of laying it out into something that can be shared amongst brigades. If anyone wants to partner with me to kind of do that as a peer, on a peer basis, so we have a kind of a set format for talking to each other and then disseminating that amongst each other, I think that could be really valuable, so talk to me.
Okay.
Dr. Rossi, Coach from Boston.
Okay.
Thank you for all those takeaways and lifting up what's coming to the top for you. I think really important for us to reflect on what we've gotten out of these 2 days and how we can better connect and collaborate with each other. What's your degree conference? Should we do it? Yeah. So this is the evaluation, which I'm really hesitant to skip. This is really important for us. So will you raise your hand if you promise to complete this? Someone take a picture. We really need your feedback. Before we started the planning for this year's Brigade Congress, we went back through and read every single evaluation from last year to inform how we structured the day, what kind of content, what sort of logistics supported you showing up as your best self. Please fill out this. You can do it right now as we're doing some of these thank yous, but please do it early this week by the latest.
It made a difference in the content committee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Get your money. It's your money. Let's get it to you. So if you applied and received travel support, please submit your Expensify reports by October 31st. So we really need you to get those in by that deadline so we can get you your money back. Brigade Congress 2020. The answer is your National Advisory Council is going to give you the answer. So NAC is making this decision for next year. I hear they are taking bribes, so organize yourselves. So they will be announcing the decision for where we will host Brigade Congress 2020 by November 8th. Right now? November 8th?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. So keep an eye out for that. Thank yous. So one of the things that's rising to the surface for me this weekend is the importance of appreciating each other and appreciating each other for the small things that are in fact very big things. So we have a lot of thank yous to give out, and we're going to do some of that now. I'm going to ask that we hold our applause until the end, because we're going to do something kind of special at the end to celebrate everyone who has been a part of making this weekend possible. So our first thank you, of course, is to our sponsors, the Knight Foundation and Esri, without whom many of this would not be possible. Esri also hosted a session, I believe it was yesterday, on a project that they are rolling out that's particularly relevant for Brigade. So check that out. It's ArcGIS Hub, super relevant. Hopefully that can be a resource that we can all use going forward. Thank you to our sponsors. The Content Committee, man, thank you for bringing all of this together, for grounding it in what people wanted to see, for grounding it in what's most useful to each other in this community. So Tim, Isaiah, Nick, F, Nick, S, Tyreek, Lauren, Will, Nina, Janet, Melanie, Rainey, thank you. So appreciate all the work you did to bring this together. Our unconference leaders, within that, Tim and Tyreek, thank you for all you did to ensure that there was space for us to lift up what's most present, what's most urgent while we're here in this space together, and for facilitating all of that. We greatly appreciate you, appreciate it. Our main stage speakers, April, Ariana, Jen, thank you for being here with us this weekend, for traveling, for spending your time, your knowledge, your resources with us. Thank you, we appreciate you. Anybody who led a session or facilitated a session or did note-taking for a session, that's a lot of you. Thank you for contributing that content, sharing your knowledge, creating a space for others to share their thoughts, knowledge, and resources with each other as well. To Cleveland, thank you for hosting us. To the library, thank you. Particularly to Tristan doing the AV for us. Thank you for that support that you offer to us. We couldn't do this without you. Thank you, he's back there. Open Cleveland, our very, very gracious hosts. Thank you so much for having us, for organizing a fantastic Undesigning the Red Line conference, for shepherding us through this weekend, for graciously helping us build community around your community, and we hope that we leave the community stronger. So thank you for allowing us to do that. Particularly to Will and Rob. You've been amazing in planning this and super gracious, and we appreciate you. To our National Advisory Council, Laura, Ben, Melanie, Rainey, Janet, Nina, and Dawn, you're outstanding. So grateful for your leadership, grateful for your grace, your commitment, your time. It has been and will be, I think, a difficult period for us and for this community, and for the NAC especially. And I just want to thank you and appreciate you, because I think together we can come together and be stronger in this moment, but that doesn't happen without you, so thank you. Yeah, let's give it a round of applause. To Code for America staff, there are many of you who are here, who are supporting registration, who are helping to lead sessions, who are passing out t-shirts, who are doing all kinds of things that go unseen. Thank you so much. And chief amongst them is Contagia. Where's Contagia? Stand up and take a bow, Contagia. Contagia is the person who makes sure that we have a hotel to stay at, that we have rooms available, that we have a venue where we have space for this, that there's food that's inclusive of those needs and restrictions. All the things that create the sort of space where we can show up as our best selves are thanks to work that Contagia does. So thank you, Contagia. To the network team, so that's my team. Hashim, Wilson, Veronica, Tom, Christopher. Can you please stand up? Other people without whom I could not do my job at all, and they're the folks who push me, challenge me, support each other, and support this network every single day. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm so grateful for the roles you played in helping to make this event possible. Christopher, you were just a rock yesterday, particularly, taking care of folks, making sure people had food, water, helping us to ensure that we're still able to engage in some of the work while also processing together and growing together. I don't know how you did it, and I'm very grateful for you. Veronica, you're a badass. The way in which you can project manage a content committee, in which you can build connections and invite in speakers that ground us in sort of truth and reality. I'm just continually impressed by you and everything that you bring to this community. So thank you so much. Tom, there's a saying that amateurs talk strategy and professionals talk logistics. Tom is a professional. Tom is the person who makes sure we have the right, shortly for a survey. He's a person who makes sure that we have links so we can note take, so this content can live on and it can be more accessible to folks in a variety of ways. He's the person who makes sure everything's on the website. He does so many things that go unseen but make all of this possible. Tom, you're a professional, and I appreciate you. Wilson and Hashim, you show up for this team every single day in so many ways, provide the sort of culture and community that helps our team thrive. The way in which you've brought the fellows together to experiment with what's possible in our communities and demonstrate that the people who should be leading on solutions to the problem are the people who are most affected by that problem. I think that's something that we can all learn from and that you are modeling every day in the program that you are helping to shepherd. So thank you. Thanks for all of these. Appreciate it. All right. And of course, Carl. Carl, we thank you for everything that you have given to this community and everything that you will continue to give to this community. I think Em put this well, you are a civic giant, and we owe you so much debt of gratitude, and I think hopefully everyone in this room can commit to living and working in the way that Carl would, committing ourselves to relationships, to partnerships, to honesty, to truth, and to community. And reminding that the big thing about small things is that they add up. And Carl, you are a big thing because you prioritize all the small things and helped us do all of the small things. So thank you, Carl. Thank you to all of you. You are the folks who are doing the small things. I know sometimes they can feel small, but they add up to incredibly big things. This is the real work of building community, restoring faith in our democracies, and it doesn't always, it doesn't feel like it always pays dividends immediately, but those small things add up, and that's the work that you are doing. So thank you so much. So what we're going to do to appreciate everyone in this room, everyone who just shouted out, appreciate the space we've created with each other. So we're going to do a giant round of applause. We did this at Brigade Day for those of you who are there. And when you hear that applause start to fade, we're going to raise it back up again, get as loud as we can, and we're going to do that twice. Ready? All right, as loud as we can, let's go. Appreciate all of you, each and every one of you. Thank you for who you are and what you do.